Hello fellow global citizens. This is Klaus from Plant-Based News. I am not a bigot. I am a good global citizen who believes all the things that the good grown-ups on the TV tell me to believe.
And when we're talking about Epstein, you gotta stick to what is common sense on these things, all right? Don't get buried in legalese, don't follow the finger pointing, and please don't get caught up in the intrigue of who was better friends with this guy. Who cares?
2020 has been a fantastic year for the vegan movement so far, and with our revolutionary global corporate sponsors and endorsement by the totally credible World Health Organization, it's sure to get even better.
Going against Beyond Meat is going against history.
Hey everyone, this is Klaus here, and I just wanted to re-upload this video from CNBC because Jim Cramer came out and said some very interesting things about Beyond Meat.
This movement's happening, and you got to get on the bus or get left.
How can I make an impact?
You put your differences aside and you act. You go out in the unknown and take decisions that may not make much sense at the moment, but for the long run may be necessary for all our common well-being. And as in any crisis, it's always important, essential that we listen to the science and to the experts. But during crises like this, it is even more important that we listen to scientists, to science, and to the experts.
Our activism faced a minor setback early this year when the good grown-up experts of the settled science at the governments saved us from what the experts of the science that is settled predicted with their totally credible and real science models would surely cause everything bad to happen always. Global house arrest, lockdown, mandatory unemployment, temporary permanent totalitarian technocracy, and healthy happy responsible mandatory muzzles are helping save all us extra, non-essential people. Us non-essential extra people who the smart grown-up science experts say need to stop reproducing and exhaling toxic gases need to listen to the good grown-up philanthropist expert friends of philanthropist Jeffrey Epstein so we cannot get sick and surely die.
The British government has now put restrictions in place to slow the spread of this virus. People in the UK are only allowed to leave their homes for specific reasons. This includes shopping for necessities, medical care, and travelling to and from work if it's absolutely necessary. Shops selling non-essential goods have been closed, as well as gyms, libraries, places of worship, and gatherings of more than 2 people have been banned.
Social isolation and total surveillance is obviously so necessary to save us from this totally real crisis. Unfortunately, the mandatory closing of non-essential people's businesses and gathering places has put a pause on the amazing activism of vegan street activists like my hero, the mentally and physically healthy, jittery and effeminate vegan activist Joey Carbstrong.
Okay. So they've got it veggie and vegan separated, which is good.
Lockdowns have also made it difficult for many of us online vegan activists who spend our time changing the world and saving the animals anonymously in YouTube comments who have to now spend time around disgusting, murdering, unethical, bigot, non-vegan, non-essential people like our families.
But also for some of us, maybe we're self-isolating with loved ones, but that's a negative thing because having that forced interaction with family where we can't get away from them can obviously be very difficult for many of us as well, particularly when we put that vegan spin on it as well when our loved ones are maybe not vegan, and that can be very tricky. But if we're alone as well and we're in self-isolation, we don't have anyone to talk to apart from maybe online or virtually, it's very tricky. I feel genuinely very sorry and troubled if any of you are at home now with non-vegan friends and family, and you're vegan of course, and you're in an environment where those conversations keep arising about veganism, but you can't walk out the door or go hang out with some vegan friends or go to a vegan restaurant. Instead, if you're stuck in that environment. And so I think we should use this time very effectively to improve the way that we do discuss veganism. We do have a unique opportunity. I mean, when we think about what's happening right now, so many people, probably more now than ever, are turning to the internet for wisdom, for guidance, or even just for distraction.
I can totally relate to this powerful and effeminate gelfling vegan activist, Earthling Ed. My wife's boyfriend's house is nearby, so I get a few nights a week with peace and quiet in my smart city coffin apartment where I can focus on my online vegan activism and play some Nintendo Switch without having to use my headphones. She refuses to go vegan for the animals, so I told my speciesist carnist wife I'd prefer if she stayed at her boyfriend's house more permanently until she stops being so selfish and supporting the murder of innocent animals.
So I guess my first question is this: is anyone else sick of pretending like meat eaters, more specifically people that harm animals, more specifically just basically anyone who's not vegan, who has been educated and refuses to stop harming animals? Is anyone sick of pretending to ignore the fact that they are responsible for causing the majority of the world's problems today?
Yes. I am so sick of non-vegans. I've socially distanced myself from most carnists. I can't stand my family and have disowned all my old bigot animal-abusing friends. My activism is the most important thing for me. I am doing this for the animals. I am not depressed, sickly, confused and angry from depriving myself of the most important foods for human beings and reinforcing a self-refuting, self-loathing, anti-human worldview that leads me to isolate myself from those who love me and slowly starve myself into dementia. I am mad because non-vegans are causing all the problems in the world. The only thing I hate more than speciesist animal-murdering bigot non-vegans are former vegans who now eat meat and say it made them feel so much better. I just heard one of my former vegan idols has come out as an ex-vegan. This upsets me so much, but I feel strangely excited because I now have a new temporary fleeting sense of purpose and someone to project all my frustration onto. I am reinvigorated with energy to fight this new enemy and prove once and for all that veganism is the way, the truth, and the life. Let's check out vegan YouTube to see how I should react to this earth-shattering news that Jon Venus is now eating meat and help stomp out and shame this former vegan for his obviously wrong and irrational decision to stop associating with us rational, healthy people and our totally not a cult vegan lifestyle.
Someone was saying, yeah, you know, I'm anti-racism, and then like the next week they're like, nah, I'm actually kind of racist, I'm going to introduce a bit of racism into my lifestyle now. Or, you know, I'm anti-domestic violence, oh no, I'm going to introduce a little bit of domestic violence into my lifestyle now, beat my wife on the weekends. Oh, I'm anti-child abuse, yeah, anti-child abuse for 5 years, and now I'm going to start, you know, paying for children to be abused, and, you know, like...
Toxic masculinity. Now you can pin that on your kid all you want, but I saw it happen with, in Michelle's video, she cites some comments on Jon's live chat that he did recently from Tommy Kelly, who used to be Tofu Tommy, who I blocked on Facebook 6 months ago when he started talking bullshit about how a nurse was telling him he had to eat non-vegan things. Guys, if you want to be the big man, the big daddy, the big I'm the father, I'm the hunter, with a spear, I must be man. You see, that doesn't exist anymore. That's not a real thing, and that's not what being a real man is. In fact, can you just add 2 letters to the front of that? Human. Can you just be a decent human? And Jon, citing that you were 5 years an ethical vegan and now you're going to start eating deer and fish that you kill yourself like big man does, big man, is just bullshit. You were never an ethical vegan then.
I think you said a few things that maybe are kind of contradicting to what the word vegan means. Vegan means you are ethically standing for animals, that you won't harm them in any way. So with that being said, once you say you're vegan, that means you're vegan for life. The difference would be if you chose to eat only plants and vegetables and fruits and those things of that nature, no animals, but then you went back to eating animals. That would be more of a plant-based approach, because again, I just want to say this one more time. Once you say you're vegan, then that means for the rest of your life that you're standing up for animals and that you're not harming them. So Jon has now chosen to eat animals, consume animals, him and his wife. And they can do that if they want to. You know, that's their choice. And like I said, I used to do that. I used to hunt. And the one thing, and I would just say and challenge Jon to on this, one, he can't say that he is ever vegan, because now he's consuming animals again.
As I said before in my vegan versus plant-based video, there is absolutely no such thing as an ex-vegan. You're not going to see someone who spends their time fighting against sexism to then turn around and say, you know what's fantastic? Oppressing women. I think I'm gonna reintroduce some domestic violence back into my life. I'm gonna reintroduce some patriarchal conditioning back into my life. That's gonna really take it to the next level. It just does not work like that. You're never gonna see someone who's taken a strong stance against racism to then turn around and say, you know what really fires me up? Prejudice. I think I'm gonna reintroduce systemic oppression back into my life. I think I'm gonna reintroduce segregation back into my life. It just doesn't work like that. I understand that I have a responsibility to myself and I have full accountability over my health, habits, and lifestyle. But no matter what I choose, it will never change the fact that I am a vegan.
But Jon, he's straight up f***ing ahead. A narcissistic human supremacist sociopath who has been pretending all this time to be against injustice so he could make a living out of it, but has been committing crimes against animals behind everyone. I really don't get why anyone is surprised about this, honestly. He already admitted his bird-ass ovulations eating fetish a few months ago. So he claiming that he's no longer vegan, it's pretty pointless to me because he already admitted it before.
Honestly, it's just so arrogant of him to just think he is entitled to go out and hunt. Just as a vegan community, we need to be so careful about who we're putting on a pedestal, because these people are just shallow. You are not entitled to go out and shoot deer, and you're looking forward to the experience like some sort of psychopath. I'm really looking forward to that experience. Like, so disappointing.
Again, Jon, you keep repeating the same lie that you used to be vegan, you're a former vegan. No, Jon, you were never vegan, and that's why it's so easy for you to partake in this violence yourself. I'm sure if you were actually vegan before, it would be a hell of a lot more difficult for you to commit animal abuse by gutting fish open while they're still alive and gunning down deer. This is all just complete nonsense. This guy was never vegan. Both of them are just lying frauds, and they're both just horrible, selfish people. So I hope you enjoyed this, and hopefully I don't have to make another video on these people.
I see a lot of nutrient deficiencies in a lot of different people, not just vegans. In fact, I see very few nutrient deficiencies in vegans, and it's easy to treat if I do find it, vitamin D deficiency or things like that. But you're not doing veganism for health reasons. It happens to be extremely healthy, and we've got tons and tons of evidence regarding that, and I've published that in my book and on my social media feeds. I'm a vegan for an ethic. And if you're vegan for an ethic, the idea of leaving that because of a nutrient deficiency seems a little bit strange to me. It means you no longer have that ethic.
The guy has never been vegan. He was just an apologist, plant-based poser. He never gave a f***. Obviously not, because vegans never go back. These are always plant-based posers. Let's just get that straight, okay? Because veganism is an ethical lifestyle about animals. Yes.
It is clear that Jon Venus was never really vegan. You don't just stop being vegan. You can start being vegan, and we all should start, but you can't stop being vegan. If you do, you were clearly never really vegan and were just plant-based. I didn't realize that Jon was already exposed for being never really vegan when he confessed and apologized for eating 3 eggs a while ago. Vegan Gains, a mentally and physically healthy, sterile young vegan activist and role model, exposed this lying non-vegan subhuman piece of filth months ago. We need to start exposing these fake vegans who were really never really vegan before they come out as never really vegan, so we don't have to deal with the disappointment and hassle of publicly ritualistically shaming them with our mantras in our predictable repetitive response videos we have to make to tell everyone that the apostate defectors were never really vegan, so more people will join us in saving the animals and not want to be never really vegan.
Okay, so your wife is a nutritionist, and your wife is an ethical vegan, and you decided to, like, where did you even get this idea from? Just random reads online?
The idea of eating eggs. So basically,
these bigot idiots who get these insane, irrational ideas like eating eggs or real animal foods must be so mentally deranged. I can't fathom how anyone believes this fake poser was ever really vegan. He was so clearly never really vegan. We need to find better ways to ensure that people in veganism, which is totally not a pathetic cult, keep these terrible ideas like eating eggs out of their minds so we can keep the animals safe from mass murderers like Jon Venus and my speciesist family who I disowned for being never really vegan.
Okay, cool. So you don't encourage anyone to do any kind of experiment like this where they eat eggs or something?
no, as I said in the other video, I don't encourage anyone unless there is absolutely if they've tried. What I said in the other video is if someone has tried absolutely everything and they just can't leave the idea behind and it's the only thing they can do and they have to experiment, then do it, but try absolutely everything else first. Because
what do you mean? Okay, what do you mean by that? Go in further detail. Like, try, if they have to do this, like what would require somebody to eat animal products?
So if someone is not able to overcome their issues, mental issues, or for example, for me, it was a psychological, it was an emotional thing that I was going through. And for me, for some reason, I had to go through that to come out the other side and realize certain things, right? So if
you're saying what you did was justified?
No, but it was,
okay, well, you just said you had
my
to do
mind,
it.
but
Well, wait a second. You just said that if somebody has to do it to have mental peace of mind, then, go ahead and eat animal products. So you just said you had to do it, so did you have to do it to have mental peace of mind?
I mean, no one has to do anything, right?
Vegan Gains has him cornered. Everyone can see that Jon was never really vegan now. So many people will want to stay vegan and not become never really vegan after seeing this. I am so relieved that we outed this poser. This will help convince more mentally healthy people to join us in saving all the animals and giving human rights to animals and animal rights to humans now.
Look, this brings us to the next point I was going to bring up. Let's say in a alternate universe, your copy of you in an alternate universe did this exact same experiment, but it turned out that after you ate these eggs, you felt way better. You felt 10 times better. And you even got blood work done, your blood work improved. Let's say your cholesterol was lower, your markers of inflammation was lower, your, I don't know, vitamin and mineral status went up. What would you have done then?
What would I have done? Well, I would have, explored that further by, realizing what is in the egg that maybe I might have been missing. And try to get that from a plant source.
Let's say in this hypothetical universe, you could only have gotten this from eggs.
And I could only heal myself by eating eggs, you mean?
Yeah, sure.
What are you asking? If it's morally justified to eat eggs, if it's the only way to heal yourself?
Yeah, if like, you're saying you have a back injury.
Yep.
Let's say after eating eggs, your back injury cleared right up, and the only thing that would have cured it was eggs. Do you think it's morally justified to eat eggs?
Yes.
Okay, so I would say right then and there, you're not vegan. Veganism isn't about you. It's not about your own personal well-being. It's about reducing unnecessary suffering and death. Do you think it's absolutely necessary, Jon?
No, Jon. Do you think most vegans would agree that, you have to, in order to be vegan, it means that you should sacrifice your own health and your own well-being in order to be vegan. Obviously, that is not. Luckily, it's not the case.
Okay, Jon, listen.
In this hypothetical world that you're talking about, obviously, you can't expect people to kill themselves before eating animals.
Okay, well, Jon.
Wow. What a selfish idiot. Veganism is not about you. It is about the animals. We should have known you were never really vegan when you selfishly had a child who could potentially become never really vegan. The worst thing for the animals are humans, and you thought it was acceptable to make a new one. This guy is totally irrational and dangerous.
Well, are you saying that if you would not eat animals if you knew you were going to die in a month if you didn't? And
no.
if you say
Look, I wouldn't. I don't care.
you wouldn't eat animals.
No.
Yeah, and you think that is, the same answer that everyone else who's
I don't
vegan
care what everyone else will give. Look, John.
But what does that say about you?
Look, John, that says I'm not so selfish that I think I'm at the center of the universe where I can just murder things because my back kind of hurts. It hasn't been getting better in a while.
Yeah, but if you're gonna kill yourself, for the animals, what's the point?
Look, John,
No, answer, man. Like, I'm interested.
Look, John, this is a moral topic that is outside of the scope of the actual discussion, so I'm not going to bother right now.
Gaslighting is a psychological phenomenon whereby an abuser makes you the victim question your very reality. They might do this by telling you you're wrong, by making up lies, by telling you that they know better, that they know what's best for you, your health, your family, your future. Gaslighting is caused by abusers who are struggling to control their victim. So they use these underhand but very effective psychological techniques to do so. But telling vegans that they've been brainwashed is actually just one of the gaslighting techniques I want to highlight. If you believe that you are being gaslighted, then speak out. Come and speak to someone. Make friends within the vegan community. Carnists will try to befriend you. They'll try to say, the vegan ideology, you've been brainwashed, come over here. That's brainwashing. That is the actual brainwashing.
Hello. What's up, guys? What's up, everybody? Gaslighting. All you gaslighters out there. You carnists. What's up, guys? We got a bunch of people up in the chat. Jon Venus. Just waiting on John. He's about to jump in. John is about to jump in any minute. Any minute now. He was just getting his children to bed. He was just eating. Having some dinner. Where John's at, it's much later than where I am, so sorry for the delay, everybody. My sound too low? That's as high as it goes. Sound is right. The sound is as loud as it can get. I can't turn it up any louder. Sorry, guys. All right. What's new out there, everybody? What's new out there? Got a ribeye behind me. Spoiled dog. Shouldn't be on the couch, but he is. Sound is good. Everyone says the sound is good. We got a super chat from first name, last name, sends 15 pounds. 15 pounds. Thanks for that one. I think I know who that is. Appreciate that super chat. And there we go. No need to delay anymore. We've got John right here. Let's see.
Hey.
John, what's up, dude?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Let me fix this real quick. How do I close? There we go. Close that. And get this a little bigger. All right. Here, I'm actually gonna wear headphones so that we can get good audio quality. I can't stand these things. I can't stand the over-ear headphones or the in-the-ear headphones. They both annoy me. Jon Venus, good to have you here, man. How you doing?
Really good. Thanks for inviting me back, man. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, I think the audio's good, video's good. You got a bunch of Bambi mamas on your wall back behind you, and It's been a little bit since we last talked, man. I think was it like 2 months? When was the last time we spoke? May or June?
Feels like more, but probably like 2 months. Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like time is a little off. It's a little dilated right now, but I'm glad. I'm glad you're doing well, dude. Last time we talked, you were just fresh out of coming out as being never really vegan, and that the intro video that we were just watching. I don't know if you got to catch any of it while you're eating, but it was a lot of clips of vegans kind of lambasting you and trying to shame you, and yeah, that was our last conversation. You were kind of in the middle of that storm.
Yeah, I mean, I think it must have been maybe a day after I released the video, or very shortly after, right? So I had no idea at that point, the kind of backlash or the amount of videos that were going to be made about me, right? So obviously I expected a lot, but I think there are over like at least 200 or 300 videos on the topic. So it went a little bit overboard for sure. And I would have hoped that by this time it would have slowed down, and it has a little bit, and there's a lot of support and everything, but it makes good clickbait, so a lot of people are still I could hear you all the way through.
That's funny.
Yeah, so obviously it's been interesting just from I love just like I try not to, spend a lot of time looking at the responses and that kind of stuff, but I do enjoy, looking at some of the response videos just as, a student of psychology or just whatever. It's just entertaining for me to see, how people react to my situation. And also I feel like it helps me to get, different perspectives and try to listen and see how, people are reacting to my own personal story. And it's been really interesting and fascinating to see so many of the kind of comments against me being used, or ways people are discrediting me are exactly the opposite of everything that they used to credit me with, right? So it's pretty interesting. It's a strange way how people work when you find that someone is in alignment with your values or your belief system, and once you change that, everything just changes, right? It's you just go full opposite and try to attack the person in horrible ways. So it's been an interesting journey for sure to observe the public opinion out there for sure.
Two things. Number one, you said you're a student of psychology, but I think one of the vegans from the introduction would disagree. She said, we can quote her here. She said, John, you narcissistic, human supremacist piece of beep. I think that was what she called you. So there are differing opinions on if that's true or not in the vegan community. But all jokes aside, what were some of the things that you were surprised about? You mentioned, what are some examples of ways that were used to try to discredit you when you came out and said, hey, I'm eating animal foods, I'm no longer a vegan, and I'm enjoying it? What were some of the things that were said about you that you think were contradicting the way you were previously, treated and portrayed within the vegan movement when you were kind of an iconic vegan bodybuilder?
Yeah, so I'd say that, first of all, I would say the most obvious one would be the nutrition and health knowledge. So, I would be flown and invited to all kinds of events to speak on nutrition and health, right? So relating to a plant-based diet. And I felt like I always did a good job. I enjoyed doing that. I always winged it, never planned a speech. I did Q&As, live Q&As on the spot. And that was kind of like how I approach my public events, right? So I had no issue answering any questions relating to health or fitness or nutrition. And every single vegan doctor that I met along the way were always, complimenting me on the knowledge and that kind of stuff. And then once I'm no longer vegan, it's, the common thread is that I have zero experience, zero credibility on nutrition. I know absolutely nothing about anything and don't listen to that guy, which I'm okay with that. And I don't call myself, I never consider myself an expert on nutrition or anything like that. But I do know enough to answer all of the basics. And, I've read enough science and studies, and by no means, again, I'm not an expert. I don't even want to become an expert. I don't enjoy reading studies as much as a lot of other people, right? But I still feel super comfortable about my knowledge in, general health and nutrition and fitness to be able to answer almost any question out there. So that was a pretty interesting one for sure. That everything that I was doing for the last 5 years relating to nutrition was immediately discredited as, you know nothing. There's no.
Isn't that funny? Because they would use you as an example of, look at this guy. He knows what he's doing. Here's a guy who's successful, has a respectable, natural, allegedly natural physique, right? So that might be another one that you've heard since then. But this guy's built a respectable natural physique. He's been doing this for years. He's not wearing veganism like a disease, right? You see some people and it's like, oh, there's a symptomatic vegan. You were somebody who always were an example of like, hey, this guy's doing well. Maybe this can work for a lot of people. Right? But then as soon as you switched, it was, no, this guy's a fool. He knows nothing. He just wants money. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Don't ever look at him, or, just shun him and shame him.
Yeah, unfortunately. And of course, I have people who, behind the scenes were supportive and that kind of stuff. And a lot of cool people that were reaching out, even, pretty ethical, as I would consider ethical vegans who are in it for the ethical reasons, right? There were still, a lot of people, not a lot, but, there were still a few people showing support behind the scenes, which I appreciate. But there were a lot of people who, are public figures who are trying to represent the movement online. And veganism is very heavily driven by social media, right? So a lot of these top influencers, they were the first to switch boats completely and try to attack me as a person. The other really, really common thread was attacks on my intelligence. Like that was probably maybe even more popular than attacking my lack of nutrition understanding was my lack of intellect and brain power. And
because if you have muscles, if you look good, right? If you're good looking, or if you have any muscle mass, you must be stupid, right? You must be a dummy. You must be an airhead meathead. Is kind of what they're trying to say, which is really kind of very, very stupid. Right. And a lot of these people pride themselves on not being judgmental. That a lot of them claim that they're fighting for social justice, yet they're going to judge you for just looking like you do. Isn't that funny?
Yeah, exactly. So, and I'm okay with that. Like I feel comfortable enough in my skin and in my own kind of psychology to just take that as a kind of as a given. It's not something that I kind of personally got affected by, but it is interesting that a lot of these people who are public figures, who are supposed to make this movement very appealing to as many people as possible and to save the animals, would portray such negativity and attack people on such a personal level, and making comments about my family and wishing even the worst wishes you could wish upon a person. And,
like the anonymous comments though, right? These aren't public real people, aren't they? Mostly the anonymous comments that go that way.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there is a ton of content out there. If you just search my name and then No Longer Vegan, you'll see at least 200 videos, and then you can kind of get a picture of how the general consensus is around the situation for sure. Yeah, and I say what else? I think one of the most common ones is that I don't understand what veganism is. Therefore, I was never really vegan, as you were saying before. And that's, for people who are saying that they have the perspective that once you know the truth, once you understand what happens to animals, once you understand the torture and the process that goes through, factory farms and all kinds of animal agriculture, once you make the connection, it's impossible not to go back to eating animal products, or it's impossible to unwatch or understand it, kind of thing. It's not really something that is logical either, because that takes the perspective of humans are not allowed or are not able to change their perspectives. They're not allowed to change their mind on different things. Once you believe in one thing, that is the way you have to look at things for the rest of your life, right? That is kind of the black and white, a little bit extreme approach that I often see as well. And as anyone who's followed my content for so long, they understand that I understand deeply all of the, ethical aspects of veganism. And I still do. I can make a huge argument for veganism still by using only ethical arguments, because that is the reason why I was vegan myself. So I could still, argue against myself or against you or anyone basically on the ethics of veganism. But again, it's about, adapting, changing, holding opposing thoughts in your mind and trying to be as neutral as possible, taking personal consideration and experiences into account, and consistently asking yourself if you're doing the right thing by yourself, by your family, by your community, right? So it's very possible to change your mind on different things. And if you just stick to the same kind of viewpoint your entire life, you're probably missing out on a lot of new knowledge and experiences. So, it's sad that a lot of people think that, you have to be right, or, if you don't do a certain thing a certain way, then, you're wrong.
It was so hypocritical too, because it's like they weren't vegan always. These are people who had a conversion to veganism. So they start off as a non-vegan. They're born non-vegans, right? If their grandparents weren't eating animal foods, they wouldn't be alive. If their mama wasn't eating animal foods, they wouldn't be alive today. So these people are not born vegan. They see these documentaries. They meet Joey Carbstrong in the street, or they they get inspired by the life advice of vegan philosopher king Vegan Gains. Pimp Daddy Vegan Gains, then they convert, they become vegan. So they're saying that that's okay. It's okay to change your mind, to change your perspective and your ethics and become vegan. But you can never change your ethics and think that veganism is not valid. That's impossible. It's like, if you just, I'm going to be racist again, or I'm going to oppress women now. It's like they use these examples of like, oh, well, you used to be against sexism, but now you're going to beat up your wife just a little bit. You're going to introduce wife beating back into your life again. It's the worst arguments ever. And it makes them look even more ridiculous. So I think it's kind of sad. It's funny to watch. Like, a lot of these response videos are hilarious. It's really sad to see, though, the coping mechanisms, how intense it becomes, like all the projection and the spite and the hatred. And it seems like, at least they're getting their clicks, right? They're getting their Jon Venus clicks, their Tim Sheaf clicks.
Right, exactly. And, I remember watching a debate that a YouTuber called Vegan Gains was doing with my brother, who's called Leo Venus, and he was really always just trying to get him to say bad things about his own brother, and he kept comparing me to what's his name,
Hitler?
Jeffrey Epstein.
Dahmer. You're Jeffrey Dahmer. Jeffrey Epstein, Jeffrey Dahmer. What? Yeah, like your brother's basically a mass murdering cannibal pedophile or something. Is basically his logic.
And of course, there are a ton of logical, judgmental, non-spiteful vegans out there, and unfortunately, their voice is drowned in all of the hate. So, but I do appreciate those vegans who try to keep a sound approach and try not to discredit and bring people down and that kind of stuff. Because at the end of the day, I'm not here saying that I'm right and that I know that someone else is wrong. I'm just here telling people and trying to inspire people to just continuously think critically and try to understand that you don't understand someone else's choices. You don't have the context necessary for you to judge them at a human level the way that they're doing, because we're all different, and it's impossible to fully set yourself in other people's shoes, the way that people think they are, just by looking at some YouTube video and coming to crazy conclusions. So but that's just the way it is.
We got a super chat here from Daniel Ryan, sends $5, says Vegan Gains wants you to die for the animals. We did have that clip earlier when you asked Vegan Gains, if in this hypothetical world that he brought up to you, It seemed like he was saying that he would die rather than eating one egg if it would save his life. And he doubled down. He said, yes, I would never eat another egg. I'd rather die. So yeah, that was a crazy moment.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think many vegans share that opinion, but probably more than I think. You know, it's obviously, when it comes down to it, I don't even think Richard himself would, you know, take that option. I doubt it.
Yeah, no, I don't. I think he's full of shit. I don't think he's telling the truth on that at all. I highly doubt that he would sacrifice any of his. He wouldn't sacrifice himself for an animal or any human, for that matter, in my opinion. James, thanks for the super chat, man. Says howdy from Arkansas. Howdy, James. I'm down here in Ecuador. John, you are Norway, right?
Norway.
Right on, man. Right on. So the veganism thing, that's all far behind you. Seems like the response videos, maybe they slowed down. I don't know. Perhaps every time you log into Instagram, you still see the vegan hordes, but
Guys, if you want to be the big man, the big daddy.
There we go. If you want to be the big man, the big daddy. We got Tommy Kelly. What's up, Tommy Kelly? Sends $1.99 in pounds. Says no fighting with the big daddy Spears. If you want to be the big daddy. So speaking of being the big daddy, we talked last time. You were talking about how you wanted to get into hunting again. Something that your family and Catherine's family have been into, and you wanted to go for a hunt. And it seems like that actually finally happened. Yeah, man. What was that like? You sent me that picture of that lengua, that tongue. Did you boil that up, or how'd you prepare it?
Yeah. So immediately after the hunt, so this is kind of really interesting because that's apart from, you know, the veggies in my own garden, like that's the quickest I've had something, you know, from source to plate. You know, it's
fresh.
It's absolutely 100% fresh, right? So at the first day we went hunting for reindeer. My father-in-law got a reindeer card. I don't know what the systems are worldwide, but here they call it a card, right? They're kind of given out to select few hunters, and it's really rare. He hasn't gotten it for many years, so all of a sudden I got asked if I wanted to join in. I was like, yeah, let's do it. So we went together, and we had this amazing experience camping in the middle of nowhere, you know, trekking up super high, I don't know, like 4,000 feet up in the mountains. Beautiful scenery, amazing. Nothing growing up there apart from like some shrubs and moss, and literally no berries almost, and extremely harsh conditions up there. Even in the middle of summer now, it was like, you know, 7 to 10 degrees Celsius or something like that. So that was super interesting. It was like usually like we set out to kind of stay there for 2 days, because usually, you know, it's not guaranteed that you're going to find any reindeer immediately. It really depends where you go. The landscape or the allowed hunting area is massive. You can be you can walk and hike for many hours. You know, it's really hard to cover the whole area, right? So we weren't guaranteed to find any reindeer the first day. And, you know, we found a place and we stationed there, and we were just like on the lookout with binoculars for 4 hours, and we saw a bunch of herds on the other side of the valley, like the opposite side that we chose. And no one else had spotted anything on the side, you know, that we were stationed at, right? So we were kind of thinking that we weren't going to get anything, but all of a sudden, as we were kind of walking to a new location after 4 hours of waiting, Catherine's grandpa spotted 3 reindeer, and you know, my father-in-law was able to get a clean shot, one shot through the heart, perfect shot actually.
How far away? How far was it?
I would say like maybe 70 meters or something like that. I don't know what that is in feet, but yeah, so not too far, but obviously, like, you know, you do need some shooting skills and experience to be able to, you know, it's like the heart was actually the first thing that we ate, so we ate it immediately. Yeah. And the bullet pierced right through like it didn't stay in the animal at all. So, you know, we cleaned out the bits around where the bullet hit, and then we had that for dinner the day after, right? So along with the tongue, actually. So that
how'd you prepare the heart? Did you saute it? How'd you make it?
Yeah, we fried it up with I don't remember I didn't prepare myself.
Yeah.
He prepared it, so we fried it up somehow with salt and I think just salt and maybe some black pepper. I'm not sure.
Yeah. So that deer that died instantly, right? The deer that died very, very quickly. A perfect shot through the heart.
Yeah, I think it takes like, maximum 10 seconds, not even that, for the animal to die when you actually, get the right shot, right? So that was super cool to see that, it was instant. And, that's not always how it happens. Sometimes, you misfire, but that doesn't really happen too often for experienced hunters, right? So I don't have the license myself to shoot, but I'm a pretty good shot, like when I'm, practicing. So hopefully I'll be able to do the same for sure.
Nice.
But of course, like it's not always a guarantee that you're going to get a clean shot like that. But you always try to do the best you can, right? But yeah, it was really interesting to eat the, these are foods that I never would have touched even before going vegan, right? Like the tongue and the heart, and those are the first two things on our plate.
What do you think about the heart? How was the heart?
Well, the heart just like for reindeer and deer, it doesn't taste as much as organ meat as it would be in other animals. For example, I'm used to eating chicken hearts. Like I've eaten probably thousands of chicken hearts in my life, and it has a pretty, special taste to it, which I do enjoy. But this one, the reindeer heart, wasn't as strong as I expected it to be. I expected it to be a lot more gamey, but it was pretty, like, I wouldn't be able to tell much of a difference between that and, a different cut, to be honest. It was pretty, just like a normal kind of cut of meat for sure.
Yeah, heart's good. Beef hearts, it tastes really. I got a bunch of ducklings walking by outside, but beef heart is very mild in taste. It's like one of the easiest organs for people to first introduce.
Right.
That and tongue is another one. Tongue sounds weird to people, but it's very soft. The flavor. What do you think about tongue? How did you enjoy that at all? You're South American. You're Brazilian, so lengua is huge in South America.
Yeah. So I think I've only had a cow. I believe it was cow tongue when I was a kid in my grandma's place, and I was really freaked out and disgusted by it because, society, like anything that is unusual, you kind of automatically get disgusted by that, right? So I sent the picture actually of the tongue to one of my best friends, and he said like I wouldn't even touch that with a stick. And that's disgusting. So I was.
You sent that picture to me, and it looked delicious. By the way,
yeah, exactly. So for me, it was a little bit weird, but at the same time, I think I would have felt way weirder if I was just given a random tongue on my plate. But since we were there and we killed the animal and we were there opening the animal up, I was, cutting, the meat off the ribs and all kinds of stuff, and really help, like, getting my hands dirty. You understand that was harvested by you. You know what it is, and it felt that for me didn't feel weird at all, right? So having the tongue on my plate at that point didn't feel strange. And also when you cook it and boil it, it doesn't look that much like a tongue anyway, as much as it did before. And I got to tell you, like, the taste was interesting. It tasted like some sort of like gourmet ham that you would put on top of a bread or something like that, with maybe some other ingredients on top. But it was really, really soft. Like it kind of almost melted in my mouth. Yeah. So I actually enjoyed it. I prefer the heart though, for sure. But
oh really? Okay.
I think I wouldn't be able to eat big amounts of the tongue at a time, but I think, slicing it up in small amounts, I really enjoyed it.
Tongue's very fatty, right? So if you're doing like a low carb diet and you're used to eating more fat, then maybe you'd be more drawn to the fat. But because you eat more carbs, the lean probably tastes just as good to you. And you're not used to eating as much fat as some of us fat heads.
Yeah, no, true. Only peanut butter.
Oh no, you're gonna trigger half the chat with that statement.
No, I have actually. Oxalates. Yeah, exactly. No, I do love. I think I told you this on the last live stream we did, but I'm a huge butter fan as well.
Yes.
We don't have access to a lot of butter here, but when we do have it on occasion, it disappears pretty quickly. Because it's so good.
How's your boy your boy like the butter? Children tend to love butter.
I mean, like I don't know anyone who doesn't like butter, to be honest. Like,
right. That's what I feel like. One of the things that vegans never admit to missing these things, but butter is it's irreplaceable. There's nothing, and all these fake options, right? Like the margarine and stuff. Even the vegans know they're toxic, right? I mean, so they're not going to be eating any of those. So as going 5 years without any animal foods, there's really no viable substitute for butter, and I can, I cannot imagine.
Cheese is irreplaceable for sure.
There's nothing. Yeah, there is no such thing. Like plant-based milk, get real. I mean, this is real milk comes from just the herbs up behind our house, and then we get to turn this into cheese and age it for 3 months, and it's just this block of incredible, probiotic filled, vitamin and live enzyme filled, nutrient dense, creamy, amazing thing that you can't ever. Like you're just melting some tofu and putting some I don't know, like orange colored plastic in it to make their stupid plant-based cheeses. Get out of here with that. Eat some real cheese, you guys. You won't regret it. We got a couple super chats here. Let me read these off first. We got Naomi415. Appreciate that one. Doesn't even say anything. She just sends. It's like a hippo with a rocket attached to its eye and a weird bionic arm, and it says OP. So I really appreciate that image. Don't know what the hell do you mean by that, but I'll take it. I appreciate the super chat, Naomi. Jade Masquerade says, John, you need to find Bambi and feed your family. You need to find Bambi and feed your family. Thank you very much for that one, Jade Masquerade. And then we got another one, Lil AIDS, there we go. Lil AIDS donning my rap name as a handle here in the Streamlabs. Sends a buck, says, can you bring up the point that a human carnivore, in quotations, hunter, could subsist himself on 10 or less deer per year if he were to only eat meat? That is by far less deaths than vegans contribute to, probably 99.99999% less.
Stolen my dreams, my childhood.
Yeah, so obviously the calorie wise for sure, right? Obviously, like the deer are super lean, and you'll probably be missing out on some fats because you're not getting carbs, you're not getting fat, right? So unless obviously the tongue, and there are certain parts of the animal that does have fat, but they're extremely lean animals.
Brain,
right? So,
we'll name a few of those off for anybody wondering about good cuts to get really affordable fat from. Brain, testes sound gross, but testicles are delicious. Brain, testes, around the kidneys, the suet around the kidneys, great fat, and other than that, the tongue as well. But other than those, there's a lot of lean meat, especially on wild game. What was the fat like on the deer? Did it have suet? Was there an encasement of fat around the kidney?
Yeah, not a lot as you would have in other animals, I'm sure. I mean, I haven't really opened up and looked inside animals before. Like that was my first time, I think. Apart from fish, I've cut open fish before.
Yeah.
But that was my first experience, getting my hands in there and taking out the stomach and intestines and cutting off limbs and all kinds of stuff, right? And skinning it.
Yeah.
So that was I was just in a different world, just absorbing everything and trying to learn as much as possible. So I can't tell you how much fat there was around the kidney area.
Did you hold it? Did you hold the kidney and I'm so curious on. Maybe when you pull it out of the packaging, you can take a look or send me a picture. I want to see how much fat was around that kidney, because that's some of the best fat on the animal.
So I got my hands in everything. I didn't take a picture because my hands were just completely filled with everything, so I couldn't touch my camera. I just bought a new lens and I was super proud of all the cinematography that I did up to that point. So I didn't want to risk anything to the camera. So I didn't take a picture, but yeah, it was super interesting. I think the most kind of impactful part of the whole trip was actually, first, I went up to the deer or the reindeer and, just went up close and and made sure that, you know, he was dead, or, you know, he wasn't, you know, breathing or anything like that. By, you know, touching the eyeballs, you can tell if they're actually dead or not. If they don't react, then they're, you know, 100% dead. And then actually opening up was like the highlight for me. Not because, you know, oh, it's so cool, amazing, you know, I'm a man now. But
You want to be the big man, the big daddy, Jon Venus, the big man.
Yeah, but it's so fascinating because I thought it was going to be a lot more messy than it actually is.
It's not so bad, right? It's like all encased. It's all right there in
I
a
was
little
going to say,
package.
it's like, it's almost like it's fake in a way, because, you know, you have this, you watch horror movies and it's like, you know, bloodbaths everywhere.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's so perfectly placed, and, you know, it's so clean in there that it's, yeah, it just feels like it's not real for some reason. That's kind of like the impression I got.
Yeah. No, it's crazy when you slaughter an animal and, you know, it's already been, you know, it's been drained of blood, and you open up the cavity there, you open up in between the ribs, and you got, it's just, everything is right there together, and you pull the intestines out, and those intestines, some people take them. I mean, there were a lot of the Native American tribes, they used to clean them out and they would eat them, or they make soup with them, or they use them for fiber, they use them for various things. Or you can leave it in the field. And a lot of these people, oh, you're just, what a terrible situation. You go out there, you kill this animal, and then you just leave the parts you don't want. And they'll say stuff like that, but these people have no idea. It's like if I were to butcher an animal right outside, we've got chickens, there are birds all over the property, right? We've got chickens, we've got ducks. They're going to come and they're going to love eating those guts and all the bugs that come and the maggots that start producing on that carcass is going to get consumed by about 5 to 10 different species of land animals, not even including all the bugs and everything and maggots that are going to be consuming it. So there is no waste. Right, there is no such thing as waste when you're in the field, when you go for a hunt, and they'll use this argument. They'll say, "Oh, look, if you were a real hunter," right? These vegans, when they're trying to justify why hunting is bad, they'll use the worst arguments. But they'll say, "If you were a real carnivore, you would use everything. You'd use the whole body." Well, if you look at lions, they'll leave half that carcass for the hyenas. They leave a lot of the parts that they don't want, so that the other dogs can come and get it. And this is not a, it's just very poor argumentation, because there is no waste, and that's all useful. I mean, the guts, what we do when we have, you know, guts from the animal, we dig a little bit of a hole and we bury it into some dirt.
My dreams and my childhood.
Thanks, Greta. Sorry, I'll give you your dreams and your childhood back later. But you bury it, and then after a few days, bugs start coming and maggots start getting all over it, and then you've got like a whole protein smorgasbord for your birds. So then the chickens come and the ducks, and they all eat it. So there's no waste.
No, absolutely not. And, you know, I got a lot of comments like that when I uploaded my hunting video yesterday. So it's been up for about 24 hours now. And it's probably like, you know, I'm sure video replies and people making videos. But a lot of the comments were that, you know, oh, why didn't you, you know, eat its heart in front of us or something like that? And I'm like, well, I did eat it. I just didn't show it, you know. But it doesn't matter. Like you're saying, it's not, you know, everything is not going to waste. It's always going to be used up. If animals don't have it, you know, the soil is going to, you know, absorb those nutrients and, you know, be used indirectly to feed other deer and that kind of stuff, right? So, and a lot of times people were saying, you know, quoting me because I was saying that I want to preserve, like, you know, do my part to preserve as much nature as possible. And then people would say, oh, how hypocritical. You're saying you want to preserve nature and then you're going out there and destroying nature. And it's like, I get where you're coming from when you're, you know, deer is part of nature and you're killing a deer, which is a part of nature. So you're killing nature, right?
Is death not part of nature in their reality? That's the thing. It's like, if you're talking about nature, all these animals kill each other, and death is inevitable for every single one of these animals.
Right. And I think, you know, a lot of people, you know, unfortunately, there are no kind of no predators left here, right? So because of big ag, and I guess it started even, you know, a little bit further back, but you know, after people were like, you know, started farming on bigger scales, a lot of people, you know, just hunted off the wolves and the bears. So there are very, very almost no bears in Norway left at all. Almost no wolves. They all went to Sweden. And the only predator left that is only there because it's super good at hiding itself is a wolverine, and there are very few of them as well. So because humans have killed off all the predators, nature is not able to regulate those reindeer populations unless they just, the only way it has left is getting them diseases and parasite infections and all kinds of stuff, right? So that is one of the reasons I know a lot of people participate in hunting, is kind of like as an effort of conservation and trying to keep those populations at a natural level that would be, present with the wolves, in place, and other predators, right? So that's kind of, the reason why a lot of people see hunting as a way of conservation as well. Of course, like I wouldn't have a problem with having wolves and bears back. Like I'm okay with that. But I do understand as well that people, it's not practical, especially if you're farming and you have sheep and.
All right, they're going to come on my land. I'm going to shoot them. Like there's so many predatory animals. Even here, I mean, we lost a lamb the other day. It was enclosed in a very safe area where they sleep every night, and something got in. We think we know what kind of creature it was. There's these, I don't know what you call them in English, but it's a dog-like creature. And they come in and they'll snatch them up and they'll carry them off into the mountain. They make these weird noises at night, and you hear it coming closer and closer like a homing beacon. They like surround areas, and they live in little families. They kind of live like coyotes, but their tail only goes vertically. It just goes up and down. It doesn't go side to side. It's just an up and down tail, and it's got a thin face and long arms, and they're fast, and they run side to side. They zip through the mountains, and but they come and they'll snatch those animals right up. So it's like if I caught one of those coming to kill my sheep and the chickens, or my dog, it gets shot. But humans, guess what I'm getting at is we use all of these practices, hunting, the movement of herds, for land management. I mean, we're creatures that are meant to manage land, that we have an instinct, we have a drive to manage land around us, to yield us the fat of that land so that we can consume it, so that we can eat it, so we can stay alive. This is something that has been given to us by God. This is not something that is terrible and bad. We're not this abomination, and human beings are so bad for the environment, but all the other animals are good. That's not how I see it. So I think it's really important to show this. I think it was a really great vlog, man. It was a good video. Cinematography was on point, and really beautiful shots. I got playing a couple shots from it here down below. You using a gimbal? Do you use a gimbal?
No.
Or you just hold it?
No.
Some of the shots are nice and steady. It looks like it's on a gimbal. But yeah, man, you did a great job here. So, you had the tongue, you had the heart already. What else? Yeah. What else have you had? You get any steaks from it? You have any chops? What else have you eaten?
Yeah, I mean, we have, I'd say probably like 60 pounds from that one animal at least. And it's all, it's a cooling, like I don't know how you call it in English, but like just basically like a big refrigerator, right?
Like a chest freezer, like a.
Yeah, it's not a freezer. It's like 2-3 degrees Celsius or something like that. And what my father-in-law likes to do is leave it there for 7 to 10 days so that meat just like softens up a bit.
Yeah.
So it's more kind of like a better consistency for cooking, basically.
Yeah. So it's like a really short dry age where it's almost freezing.
Right. Exactly.
That sounds nice. That sounds good. Yeah, the cinematography, man, it's barren up there. And look at what they're eating. These things are eating indigestible plants that pop up in between the rocks. We can't eat any of that.
Yeah,
we can eat none of that. Here's the animal.
Yeah,
how beautiful are those antlers?
Man, the reindeer were like, I've never seen a reindeer up close before, so that was like super special for sure.
They're really beautiful.
They're really hard to approach, right? So chances are you're probably not going to be able to see one alive up close unless they're zoo animals or if you meet Santa Claus or something. But it's really hard to get those.
It's hard to get an appointment with Santa Claus. He's always busy.
Exactly. Yeah.
So we used to see in California where there was not really deer hunting in the Bay Area. And when I lived in Santa Cruz, the deer would just wander right up to you. They had no fear because nobody was hunting there.
Right.
So it's just amazing how different the conditions are. I mean, they're very different deer too. You know, they're not as big as the animals that you're hunting over there.
We're good.
Okay.
But yeah, man, like the whole experience was amazing. You know, I'm super pleased with the whole thing. A lot of people ask me how it felt. Like, did it feel, you know, did you feel sadness? Did you feel, you know, horror? Did you feel, you know, disgust? And it was like the only feeling I was trying to monitor my own, you know, mind at all times because it was a new experience, right? And and the only feeling that I could, you know, put into words is just gratitude because, you know, I was just learning so much and actually taking part in something that I felt was, you know, just felt, you know, like something that was right and normal, right? And again, this is not me saying that everyone should be like, that's another argument that I always get, like, why are you trying to get everyone to hunt? Like, if everyone on the planet went hunting, wildlife would be gone in you know 12 hours or something, which is true, and I'm not trying to get everyone to go hunting or anything like that, but it is cool to be able to do something that humans have been surviving on for hundreds of thousands of years, right? So
how about this? If everyone went vegan within a week, there would be no wildlife left on the planet. You could just make these claims, right? But it's hunting makes you. How about this comment? Hunting makes you a weak man. You aren't entitled to have a perspective that violates, enslaves, and pillages living sentient beings. Well, Serge, he actually is entitled to have that perspective, right? I mean, what do you mean he's not entitled? He doesn't even have the perspective that you claim he has, but what do you mean he's not entitled to have a perspective? He clearly has a perspective which you have deemed to violate, enslave, and pillage living sentient beings. And clearly he does have a right to do that because he's doing it, dude. So I don't know what this guy's talking about. Oh, there you go.
That's the thing. People say that you are not allowed a perspective, but they are allowed a perspective, right? So that doesn't make any sense at all. Like, we're all, you know, individuals with our own brains and points of view. So, you know, I think we're all allowed different perspectives for sure.
And you see that one chick, she was like, you think you're so entitled. You're so entitled. And she said, you're so entitled to go and hunt and kill these animals. You think you're so entitled. I mean, what is this entitlement narrative? I'm not really sure where they're going with that. I think vegans really flesh that one out better, that you're not entitled to. Try and justify that somehow, because it's not a really good argument at this point. You're not going to convince anybody. It just kind of falls flat. Mm-hmm. So we've got another comment here on the video. It says, stop saying you were vegan. You were never vegan. It's got 90 upvotes.
Yeah, that's a common one for sure. There's a lot of I think, you know, a lot of comments that were negative and vegan focused got a lot of thumbs up, but there was a lot of cool comments as well. People appreciating me showing the whole process and you know, bringing them along with this change of lifestyle, and you know, I'm sure that is, you know, pretty interesting for people who've been, you know, following along for a while. You see such a, you know, a journey that is completely different from what I've been doing for the past 5 years. I'm sure that's interesting for some people, but then obviously very triggering and very sad and disappointing and horrifying for a lot of other people as well.
Yeah, man. Oh, here's a funny comment. Your comment section is kind of it's a landmine zone here. It's like a war zone. But this is
make videos out of those.
Right. If you were on an island with some deer, would you not eat them? Vegan. If there's deer there, it means there's vegetation. I will eat what the deer eat. It's a joke comment, but it is. I mean, it's almost what you hear from some of these people.
Right.
I mean, there's so much plant matter that we can eat. There's so many plants. But how many edible plants did you see when you were up there hunting?
Edible plants. I mean, define edible, right? Because like you can eat pretty much anything to an extent, but then, you know, you wouldn't tolerate it in big amounts, right? So you could eat the types of moss that the deer are eating, but you're not going to survive off of that, right? It's like you would die within a day, or not a day, but like, you know, you wouldn't be able to survive on moss for sure, and definitely not grass.
Yeah, look how barren it is up there. How cold is that water in the lake? Near freezing?
Yeah, I'd say, maybe 4 or 5 degrees, depends. And the cool thing is that they're actually able to survive negative 20 Celsius, right? Like, what is that? That's like -5 Fahrenheit or something like that. That's
Wow.
pretty hardcore, and that's not uncommon. That's like a consistent thing every winter in that area, right? So, so impressive that these reindeer are able to fatten up to that point in summer and endure those harsh winters for sure. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's absolutely incredible, man. I mean, just how robust and strong these animals are, and their ability to handle some
And
of the
what do
most
they
harsh
eat?
environments.
They're strong. What do they eat?
Are you quoting Patrick Baboumian?
No, man,
I have never seen an ox eat meat. I have never seen a buck eat meat. Yeah, it's amazing, man. It's incredible. We got a couple super chats here. We've got let me come down here. We got quite a few super chats. Sid Meister donated $2. Says respect to John for being a non-bigot trans vegan. The Meat Church donated $2 through super chat. Says Jon Venus versus Vegan Gains in a fight. Who wins? I think the audience. Yeah, did he challenge you to fights? Did that happen?
I think I was the only one that he didn't challenge. Yeah.
Well, it sounds like Richard has an opinion on who would win then.
Yeah, I don't know. Like obviously it's all silly and stuff.
You don't seem like the type to accept such a challenge.
No, like I mean, if he comes to my village, we got an MMA gym here, so like if he really wants to, like, yeah, why not? But I'm not taking the trip to Canada to do anything like that.
There you go.
Unless there's a big payday involved, then I'll do it. But
yeah.
I'm not doing it for laughs and giggles for sure, to prove that I'm stronger or better than anyone. Like, what the hell does that have to do with anything anyways? Just because you're able to win a fight doesn't mean anything about you.
Dude, it means your ideas are superior to the person. Come on, it means you win the argument. If you beat them up, they can't speak anymore. Therefore, you get the last word, and you win the argument. Haven't you ever been 14? All right, thanks for that donation, Meat Church. What about here? Let me just throw in another question there. Who would win OnlyFans subscription competition? Vegan Gains' wife or Jon Venus?
Man, I people can do what they want, but I really thought that he was trolling for the longest time. I didn't think it was real.
That's pretty funny. It was warm hot buns or something. We talked about that on the stream the other night. I feel like half the people in my audience don't know what OnlyFans is. I didn't even know what it was till a few weeks back. But all right, Doorman360 donated $5. Says there's a strong sobering effect gathering your own food must have on the psyche. What do you think about that statement?
Yeah, I mean, it's so true. Just think about how, and you talk about this all the time, like how disconnected we are as a human species, right? Like we have all this internet technology, all these social media channels, and on the surface you could kind of think that we're more connected than ever before because of the access to text messages and virtual communication, right? But at the same time, we're more isolated from the real world and the landscape outdoors than we've ever been before, right? And even I think I'd make the case socially as well. A lot of places for sure, even for kids, they're just playing, and especially during these times, like that's a completely different story. But right now it's a disaster. But people are less connected than ever before, and that really sucks. And yes, like actually going out there and hunting. It's a really good experience, and it really teaches you a lot. Not only, how to kill an animal, how to clean an animal, and how the whole thing works, and how the wind works, how the actual hunting game is supposed to take place for an efficient and ethical kill, but also just the respect and the gratitude that comes with it, right? Because I think one of the things that I have come to realize over the years is how everyone in society are just there. No one is connected to anything, and especially their food, right? And we're not grateful for the opportunity to have food on the table. Like we'll go to a fast food drive-through, we'll order Big Macs and just eat mindlessly while driving, while watching Netflix, while doing something else. We're not gathering around the table with our families and spending quality time in present moment without any technology and cell phones around. And no one seems to be grateful for the food that we have on our plate. It's kind of a given, right? In this modern world, that we should have enough food, and it's an obvious thing. Meanwhile, there's still people dying of hunger and starvation, malnutrition. So I think once you go out there on the field and actually gather your own food, you go to the forest and you pick one blueberry at a time, and you understand how difficult it is to gather enough calories for yourself.
For a smoothie, right? Like one plant smoothie, all the
Yeah.
ingredients for that. Like if you grow that all by yourself, and that's a lot. That's a lot of food. And then to produce enough food to feed a whole family on plant-based foods, this is very difficult. And the vegan argument is, well, we don't need to do that. We have this great utopia where we're so, we have Beyond Burgers, you have KFC fake chicken. It's amazing. This is and this puts us further and further away from what it is to really be human, what it is to really feed our families, right? Like, milking a cow every day and getting this, it's precious, right? Like a lot of the foods that we produce here, we've got surplus sometimes that we sell, but very often it's like, it's so labor intensive, it's so much work, it's so meaningful. I would much rather, consume the milk than to sell it. I'd rather consume it than I'd rather make aged cheese with it and eat that 3 months from now than make a cheese and sell it and get the money from it, because it's so much more satisfying eating the food that you produce. I don't know what it is. It's something that feels good, and it's something that is so necessary that we embrace right now, especially with the food chain, the food supply disruptions, as the cities are self-destructing and imploding, and we're having our cities basically burning down right now in a very, very hectic situation. Everybody locked down, locked in their homes like prisoners. Right? We're being dehumanized. We're being disconnected from what it is to be human, what it is to feed our family, what it is to be a good, righteous person. And it's just, it's sad how disconnected we are from our food supply, and how quickly it could be taken away from us and rationed to us, which is what we're seeing right now. Like many countries talking about rationing meat the last few months. Right? This is being rolled out slowly, but it's accelerating. Right? Our disconnection from our food supply is accelerating, and unless people start homesteading, unless people start doing what you're doing, like building your garden, teaching your family, your children real life skills like how to hunt, how to clean an animal, how to produce their own food, we're screwed. We're legitimately screwed if we don't do that. Because if our children don't have any useful skills other than trying to appear cute in front of their peers and trying to get attention or trying to be liked and get thumbs up on social media, if that's their only skill, is seeking social approval from the hive, we are screwed as a civilization and as families. So we do need to teach our kids this stuff, and I'm glad you're doing it, man. Sorry for the long rant there.
No, it's a passionate topic of mine as well, and I think when you become a parent as well, I think those topics become of extreme importance, right? Because you kind of your actions have to align with what you want to see in the world that your child is going to grow up in, right? So it kind of, there's a lot of people with kids. Most people don't think about this stuff, and they're not conscious about much at all, and it's not directly their fault. It's just a system that we have been brought into, and that's just unfortunate. But obviously, everyone has the power to look further, and find out what they could do and to contribute to a better, more environmentally friendly, more natural, more real, place, and counter these crazy trends that I think are not paying us and doing us any favors. And a lot of people like to focus on and kind of take the conversation astray by talking about a lot of different issues that are still important, but they're not the root cause of everything that is going on right now, right? So like we got COVID, we got all kinds of different things that we could talk about, like 5G or whatever. There's a lot, like these are very, very important topics, but like the core important thing is actually to look at the psychology behind the whole system. Like what is the end goal of the system? Like what are we here to do in terms of favoring and working and operating within that system that we have in place, and trying to think critically about what that means, and if that is something that you want to do with your life or not. I think just like trying to open your mind to everything that is going on is extremely important. And again, like going back to what you're saying about not just like the centralized food systems that we have in place, it's just going to get worse. I mean, here we are in one of the most rural areas in the country right now, and when I was even before I was a kid, like before I was born, it was probably, I'd say 80 to 90% of people who lived here produced their own food, right? And in America in 1945, 40% of calories produced in America were, in their own backyards, right? And now it's like 0.1% or something like that.
And that's dangerous. This is not by accident. This is by design. This is not, we get sold on this myth of progress. Now, I'm not trying to say that we should look, we should shun all technology or shun any ideas, any modern use of technology in ways of rearranging the world. But we have become so entrenched in this very, very destructive worldview that tells us that anything that intensifies our current situation, or anything that it's like this myth of progressing forward and this linear march towards this end goal post in history that is going to be this great utopia. And I think that idea, that driving force idea, that worldview of linear progress towards some ultimate eschaton where we're going to transcend our humanity and become gods through technology, that mythos is incredibly destructive and incredibly dangerous. And it really is, it's destroying our ability to actually survive here and creating dependent automatons that will just do what they're told and accept rations.
100%. And people will, progress or laziness and comfort is kind of disguised by progress, right? So like all the technology, all the progress that we're making, quote unquote, is just to make our lives more comfortable, more entertaining, better movies, better social media, better drugs, better everything, to make our lives as tolerable as possible. Yeah, we're seeing the craziest rates of depression and all kinds of chronic illness ever at the same time. Kind of like a weird thing, right?
Yeah.
And I think that like ultimately in this day and age, like you have, it's trendy, not trendy, but it's like it's the right thing to do, to believe blindly in the authorities and science, and obviously like
the science, with a capital T and a capital S, right?
Yeah. So the authority and the science and like government, like it's all like any, in my opinion, if you are the head of some industry, if you own like the majority of shares in some coal company or something, it makes sense that you would infiltrate science and politics and all these things. And people are a little bit naive, and most people understand that there is some corruption going on, but at the end of the day, it's gone a little bit too far. And it's like the moment you question anything that the United Nations or the World Health Organization or your favorite vegan doctor says, the moment you question the science, then you're a conspiracy theorist, you're a crazy person, and you have an IQ under 40 or something like that. Like that's the cancel culture, I think.
None of those things are really arguments. None of those are disproving the genuine questions that people bring to the table. It's just trying to dismiss the person and discredit.
That is a cancel culture that is, we're living through it right now. Like it's enough. You can debunk something by saying you are stupid, and that's it. Like, and people will accept that. and that's a huge problem. There's no open discussion and debates around things like, you know, who wants to, you know, like knowing and understanding, you know, let's say a controversial topic like vaccines, who in their right minds, understanding the backlash they would get for, you know, questioning the use of vaccines, who in their right mind would want to expose themselves and their own family to tackling a topic like that, or for even asking questions. Like, it's not like you're saying that you're anti-vax or that there is risk involved in certain vaccines or not, but just the questioning of it is already like, you know, whoa, like you're a crazy man. Like
skepticism, right? Skepticism about the wrong topics. You're anathema if you're a skeptic, right? If you're a skeptic about, you know, the topic you mentioned, if you're a skeptic about this huge climate change narrative being used as an excuse to rearrange how we live and, you know, consequentially destroying our very way of life. If you question the Great Reset the World Economic Forum is proposing, and you question this new economic system that they're trying to bring in, you're somehow a Luddite, or you love inequality, or you're a big mean racist. And it's just these agendas get cloaked with these false airs of good intention, and unfortunately the truth kind of gets thrown to the wayside, and rhetoric and slogans tend to be the way that, I mean, you just throw out a bunch of slogans and people repeat them too, right? Like anti-vaxxer, you're a racist, right? Just, you know, call someone a bigot, and the conversation's over. You flip the board, and the game is won.
Yeah, exactly. So that's one of my biggest passions, is just to try to get people to, or to inspire people to just, you know, think a little bit more open-mindedly and try to have, you know, different opinions and opposing thoughts, and try to consider all sides of the argument and have open discussions, and not be so afraid of judgment from the masses and from other people. Like, you know, the reason why I don't I don't personally talk about these topics is, like, a lot of these controversial topics, is because I don't understand them enough to be comfortable, you know, giving my 2 cents on it, right? Because these are important topics, and I feel like, you know, if I get it wrong, I'm doing the whole thing a disservice. So, but it doesn't mean that we shouldn't have those discussions, and a lot of people are afraid to do it. And also because, you know, social media nowadays, it seems like it's getting more and more controlled, and I'm sure. I hope the algorithm doesn't pick up on the words that we just talked about. But
the algorithm, we're under the we live under the doormat of the algorithm. We're good. We ain't moving. We're in the mud bogs of the algorithm. Nothing's moving us out of that. We've been slammed at 130,000 subscribers for about a year now, since last October when that apocalypse happened. And
right.
Yeah, it's getting worse and worse. But I know they're really. I mean, let's see. How many viewers are? We got live 223 viewers. I know that's actually the real numbers are more like 2.2 billion viewers. I think that's what it is. I think that's definitely, we got at least 2 billion people watching this. All of India is definitely watching it. So, all right, we got a few super chats here. Thank you guys for supporting. You guys want more content like this? Like John just mentioned, you know, these get slammed in the back of the algorithm. These get demonetized. These get hidden. So your super chats, your support via the Streamlabs, that's what keeps these coming. Gung Fu donates NOK20. So he must be over there in Norway. Sending them 20 Norway thingies for a super chat. It says VG can't do cardio. Video game is only fair for him. So you guys, you have to play Mortal Kombat instead. What character do you select in Mortal Kombat, Jon Venus?
I'm more of a Tekken person. I haven't really played that much Mortal Kombat, to be honest.
Whatever, dude. The correct answer was Sub-Zero, but we'll let that one slide. All right. Doorman360 donated $2, says, the science, aka scientism. Right, exactly. I mean, it has nothing to do with the scientific method when people say, the science says this. That's not the scientific method. They're misrepresenting what science is and showing that they have no understanding of what the scientific method entails and what science truly is. Science is not a magical deity that you can call upon and conjure up to just win any argument. Science is a process. It is a process. So thank you very much. And if you guys got more questions, if you guys got any suggestions on topics, feel free to send them super chats. But we've been going for a little bit already. I think we maybe got like Another 20 minutes. You got another 20 minutes to hang out, John?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Cool, man. Family asleep?
Yeah, by now they're all asleep. So I'm free for any time. Like I'll try to go to sleep in like an hour or so, but as long as we don't keep going for that long, then I'm good.
Cool, man. Cool. So, all right. So, from vegan activist to slaying Bambi's daddy, Jon Venus here. Bambi-gate. We had Egg-gate. Now we got Bambi-gate. I haven't seen. Let me take a look right now. Let's do a quick search for Jon Venus and see what kind of responses we've got, and maybe just go through some of the comments on some of these response videos, if you don't mind.
Yeah, let's do it.
So you keep the testicles? Do you get a testicle from that animal?
I'm not sure. Yeah, I didn't put that in the bag myself. So
yeah,
I was busy, like, because it was my first time. I was so bad at the process. I was like really like trying to get the right angle on the knife, like to get the most amount of meat out of the ribs and these things. So I'm not sure everything that got with us, but like we used up most of the animals. So like I don't know if the testicles came. I doubt it, but maybe it did. And if it did, like that would be like a mental challenge for me. But I'm open to anything.
They're really good. Think of them as oysters. People call them Rocky Mountain oysters. They taste like scallops. But actually better than scallops. No fishiness. The texture is just like scallops. It's like a huge scallop. But yeah, it's a mental hurdle. Same with kidney. Kidney is amazing, but it's a mental hurdle. So hopefully, I look forward to hearing when you try those ones. But we got a bunch of videos, man. This is like 30 minutes ago. Laxmi Dairy Girl. I think she used to make videos about me years ago. I remember this comment channel. Jon Venus wants to live like his ancestors, so I should live like mine. The problem for us, Michelle Lowe. Vegan Gaze has made a video. We'll check out some of the comments on Michelle Lowe. She is quite the interesting character. Come over here, scroll down here. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of videos. People have pretty strange ideas about what ancestry they really have and which ancestry really means something for our present lives. I'm pretty sure that the hunter-gatherers of ancient Europe would be laughing their heads off at the idiocy of going out to try to hunt if they had shops full of delicious, healthy plant foods and money to buy it. Wow, what do you think about that one? Your ancestors would think you suck because they would just go to the store and buy Beyond Burgers. It's way better.
Yeah. I don't know, it's like at the end of the day,
in a hypothetical universe, it's so removed from reality.
Yeah, I mean, like it's hard for me to answer these because, like, unless you understand, like, certain things, and I'm not saying I know everything and I understand more than everyone else, but
I'm saying you do. John knows everything. He knows way more than everyone. He knows it all.
Yeah, exactly. So I understand, like, that, like I'm getting messages from meat eaters who are saying that hunting is worse than factory farming and these things. So like it's just like people, no matter if you're vegan or a meat eater or whatever you're doing, like just people in general are not connected to nature, which brings us back to the point that we were talking about before. It's just like I think if our ancestors or aliens or whatever could see what we're doing right now, I'm not sure they would be so proud.
Or Bambi's mommy in Dear Heaven.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, people seem to think that humans are just completely separate from the whole, cycle of life and how nature works. Just because, we have modern technology, it doesn't mean that we're not leaving a trace of destruction behind, right? Like, a lot of people think that we're, 100% ethical, that we don't have any impact, that you are eating, the best GMO corn out there, and the corn is so bad that the mice don't even want to go there, so there are no crop deaths, or whatever the case is, right? So it's really strange to me to see, like, how intense people get about the ethics of things, and how superiorly, morally superior they are when they completely disregard everything else that they're doing in their life that also has a different impact and consequence. Like no one's talking about how the gorillas are being displaced for their mobile phones or all kinds of different problems and all kinds of issues that have to do with the consumption of all kinds of different products and material goods that we are purchasing. People just focus on one thing, and as long as they're focused on that, they feel good about themselves, they feel perfect, and everything else is just put to the side.
Yeah, well, it's funny. It's hard to gauge these comments too, because, like you said, there's such a myopic view that they're taking. And so she's going by the assumption, and I don't know if you actually did say this, but that you should live like your ancestors did, which I'm not sure. Did you say that we should live like our ancestors did?
No, I did not say we should go poop in the bush or like.
How do we know how our ancestors lived? Also, it's like, how do we?
Since I came out as no longer vegan, like people have been putting words and thoughts and excuses and reasonings. They make up so much stuff that I can't keep up with it. Like I get so many crazy comments and you said this and how come you said this, and like I've never said any of these words in my life. Yeah, I have definitely not said anything about that we have or should try to thrive to live like our ancestors. Like I like social media, I like technology, I like my phone, I like taking a shit in the bathroom. Like I'm not advocating for anything anything else other than trying to live in alignment with what you think is good about the world and nature, and try not to destroy it as much as we can. And I'm not saying that I'm not destroying nature. We all are as humans, but it's just about like the progress and the understanding and the awareness of your actions, and trying to progress and get better as your understanding improves, right? That's all I'm trying to promote.
Yeah, it seems like people make comments like this and they don't even have a principled stance on anything anyways. They're just trying to find some gotcha thing where it's like, oh,
right,
he seems inconsistent here, where they're using a straw man argument, something you didn't even say. They're straw manning your argument and saying that you think we should live like hunter gatherers, right? Because you go hunting, you're somehow saying that we should be hunter gatherers. I don't really I don't get the connection there, but that seems to be a typical angle of approach for the vegan activists in general, is to just misrepresent your argument altogether. I saw that a lot, especially with your case.
Yeah, and I think my case is I haven't followed the backlash very closely for everyone else, right? But because it's me, I'm seeing everything firsthand, and it does seem like people are really people are taking it to the next level in terms of making up stuff. I think also because it really hit them in a way that maybe was a little bit a bit harder than maybe even they expected themselves, because this is what I tell people, like, don't have expectations of people out there like to do exactly what you want them to do. Like, don't depend on a hero or an idol or some social media celebrity or a film celebrity or something like that to make the choices that you want to make. Like, be your own example. Like, don't try to depend on other people and expect them to do things that you agree with, and like that's a easy avenue to massive disappointment in your life if you just keep expecting things from other people.
I'll tell you what, you can always expect an irrational, obnoxiously not very self-reflective response from vegans. That's one thing that you can't expect, is a really dumb and incoherent response to life in general from people who are starving themselves on an inherently admitted nutrient deficient diet, and try to force this on everybody else. So I think, to me, that seems kind of unavoidable. Pure Naturee donated $5.99 via Streamlabs. Says, are you guys drinking alcohol? What's your experience with it? Wish both of you all the best. John, what do you think about alcohol?
I mean, like anything in terms of like, any drugs, I think it's a smart idea not to overdo it, and you have to be responsible with it. That's at least my opinion. I don't, I try to drink as little as possible. I'd say, like, and drinking, I don't mean like, one time I have like a tiny sip of wine or something, that I maybe do a couple times, more, like maybe like 10 or 15 times, in the last 5 years or something like that. But like, actually, getting drunk or getting like out of your mind, like I maybe only do that a couple times a year max, and I can go like 5 years without touching alcohol. So I don't go out and party and drink alcohol that much at all.
I'm sure the vegans will call you a raging alcoholic now after this after this interview, Jon. Confirmed crazy alcoholic.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So yeah, I got a similar view on it. Alcohol, a lot of people have issues with it. I go years without drinking, and then I'll drink occasionally. When I have drinks, it'll be like 2 or 3, and I'm real sensitive to it, right? Like I don't get, 2 or 3 drinks is plenty, and I'm all done. I know when I'm going too far, if I'm giving myself a hangover or something, and I avoid that. But I think, it was like 5 years without a single, no alcohol at all. Alcohol here sucks, like terrible quality too. But I do have a friend who makes homemade whiskey, like a really good quality homemade whiskey. And so I'll have that every once in a while. They brew beer too. My buddy Curtis and his son. But I don't drink the beer because I don't want a beer gut. I don't want them beer boobies.
Yeah, admittedly, my uncle just started like brewing his own stuff, so I've been tasting that like over the last couple of weeks. Not a lot of it, but like again, my sensitivity is so small that even with a small glass of beer, for some reason, and it's not like higher alcohol percentage or anything like that. So my tolerance is so low compared to when I was like 16 or whatever. Like
when you're like drinking every chance you can get when you're a teenager, and it's It's but yeah, I don't recommend, like, it's not a positive thing. Like, it's fine, and you do what you want to do, but like for me, I don't see it as something that you should seek out consistently. Yeah. It's definitely not it's not adding anything to most people's lives,
right,
or anybody's lives really. It's neutral at best for many people.
Right.
And for many people, it's absolutely detrimental. So Franklin Chan donated $4.99 through Super Chat. Didn't even say anything. Thank you, Franklin Chan. Appreciate that. You guys, the best way to donate for Super Chats is via the Streamlabs link. There's a link in the description of the video and a link in the chat right now. Let me see. Oh, we got another question here. Can Jon Venus, the Meat Church sent $2, says, can Jon Venus give us some good Petunia recipes? Do you have any Petunia recipes?
That's
Petunia. For those of you who don't know, Petunia is the long lost chicken lover of our friends, those annoying vegans, Anna and Brian. Shout out to Anna and Brian. R.I.P. Petunia. I don't really eat too many Petunias because I don't like chicken.
Yeah, I've never been a big. I've always loved chicken hearts, but I've never been a huge fan of chicken. When I started bodybuilding, it was something that the bros would say, like, you had to eat and stuff like that. So I would smash in the horrible quality chicken breast, pumped full of hormones and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. And
I never enjoyed it that much. Now we have our backyard chickens, and we're not eating them. I had to kill one of them. I was gonna try to go for like my vegan mind was like, I murdered one of the chickens because she got infected with some sort of like serious parasite infection, and like by the time we got our hands on medicine and tried to give it to her, she like just couldn't handle it, right? So, and it was pretty sad because it was one of the chickens that are almost at an age where they can start laying eggs. It's just like so close to being grown up, so that kind of sucked. But yeah, like they weren't full size, and I was kind of thinking like, should I be using the meat from like this chicken? But when she died, she was like just bones almost. Like she was so light. She was like, it's incredible how fast she lost the weight when she got sick. Yeah. So definitely nothing to eat. So I don't have any recipes at all in terms of like chicken. Yeah. And to be honest, like in terms of like eating meat and stuff, the only meat that I eat is wild game. So I actually really enjoy the taste and the flavor. So
Yeah.
I just have it with salt and that's it. Like I don't season it or put anything else on it usually.
There you go.
So
no petunia recipes from him, but if you want some chicken recipes, if you're looking for good ways to prepare meat, nose to tail, organ meats, everything, check out Jessica's book, The Carnivore Cookbook, 0 carb recipes for people who really love animals. Check that one out. We show you how to make, actually we show you how to make tongue, liver, heart, a lot of the things we talked about today, lengua, and then, a lot of other standard stuff, some really good recipes in there, as well as, good fat sources in case you're doing a more low carbohydrate approach. Check out that book. There's a link in the description down below. So look, down below on the screen, we have some new accusations that I'm gonna have to. You're buying followers, Jon Venus. It is official. Yeah. Jon Venus accused of buying followers. What's up with this? Why are they saying this on these? We got 3 videos in a row, right here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they're like the same people. Yeah, I'm seeing like Michelle vegan gays. It seems like the same people who keep making the same videos about me. I'm not sure. I guess the views are worth it, but yeah, I don't know. It's funny. Like actually, there is some truth to what they're saying, but it's not that I was actually buying any followers, right? So on Instagram, and this happens to a lot of social media people, these I don't even want to call them agencies, but like these like sketchy people try to, give you followers, and this has happened several times in the past, but never like I've never gotten it this bad before, and I'm not sure if it was on purpose or what's going on. But like back in the day, I would get messages like, "Oh, I just gave you like 200 subs. If you want more, like here's a price." I'm like, I would always get so kind of disappointed because I thought that finally I was hitting the algorithm. My subs were like coming in, and I'd get a message from one of these agency representatives saying that that they gave the subs for free as a gesture of goodwill, which probably messes up the algorithm on your social media because it's easily detectable that they're bots and fake accounts.
Yep.
So that's when you see something like that. No one who's a social media influencer would do that because they know it's horrible for the algorithm. It's obvious, like if you're buying a lot of followers and your following count goes from 5,000 to 10,000 in one day, like that doesn't happen. So yeah.
You do see it sometimes. It tends to be more obvious. So all right, so again, are you admitting, did you buy followers?
Can you hear me?
Hey, can you hear me? Am I back? Shoot. Yo, John, I'm still here. I think you're just cutting out. We're still streaming. Tell me when you're back, dude. Tell me when you're back. All right, you hear me?
Yes, I'm back.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so essentially, obviously I'm not buying any followers. That'll be not to use, any.
Well, you can get kicked off the platforms too if you do stuff like that.
Yeah,
maybe that's the strategy. Maybe they're trying to say that you're buying followers to get you to silence you, get you kicked off YouTube.
I'm not discounting any possibilities, but I think that this was actually planned by the actual agency, none of the haters out there. So that's. However, the other story is that I did get fired from my sponsor because there were relentless messages sent their way, and so many different kind of like, actually the story is that, and I don't know if this is fact or not, but the story is that people were sending in petitions, and the way I know this is because some people commented and sent messages to Catherine, asking if I don't have the link in my bio because of all the petitions that were coming in and stuff with signatures. So apparently there were loads of petitions, to get me kicked off of my sponsor, like my a supplement company that isn't even, it's not even vegan or anything like that. But it was a vegan part of the company which was focusing on plant-based supplements. So you know, they were actually so relentless that they had to actually kick me out and, you know, remove me from the company. So that was like
crazy.
One of the most interesting things that I've experienced. And they've been in business for 15 years and they've never experienced anything like that in terms of harassment and messages and like that kind of stuff.
So the vegans did what the the vegans, they are social justice warriors, right?
That's one of the biggest companies in the world in terms of supplements. So like that says something, you know?
All right, so, and I wanted to talk about this, but I wasn't sure if you wanted to bring it up because you and I briefly talked about this via DM, and you told me when this happened. So the vegans tried to get you canceled. They did some really hard work to try to get you canceled from your sponsor. What was the sponsor? Are you allowed to say?
Yeah, My Protein.
My Protein. So you were sponsored by My Protein, and I remember when you came on last time, there were vegans in the chat who were making the accusation that this company, because it's a non-vegan company, they're making up this conspiracy theory that they had told you to go ex-vegan. They said, John, you got to not be vegan anymore because all that ex-vegan money, we need that. We got to get all that ex-vegan money from all the ex-vegan industry, whatever these vegans think is going on in their delusion. Yeah. And that was the narrative. So they started tagging the company and emailing them, right? And telling them, were they accusing the company? Like, did they email the company and accuse them of paying you?
So the company officials were saying that, you know, they were afraid of the threats that were put out there about them buying me out of veganism, basically. And they couldn't they didn't want that because it wasn't true, right? But obviously, like, there are better ways to tackle the situation. But again, I'm not blaming them. Like it doesn't matter for me that much. But they've never experienced anything like that. So I guess like the best thing for them to do was just to, you know, stop and end this craziness, right? So the main narrative a lot of times is exactly that you know, My Protein bought me out of veganism, even though they were trying to get me to promote the plant-based products and product line, and that I stopped being vegan because of the money. Now, ironically, I've never earned this little money in my life since I was a college student. Like, I'm like, you know, trying to save every cent right now. Like, this is you know, and again, like, I can make money anytime that I want. It's just a different way of
OnlyFans. He's got an OnlyFans, guys. It's coming. Jon Venus, the firefighter outfit you're wearing the other day, dude. I know you did a photo shoot that day. We see it on your Instagram, man. Confirmed. When is it dropping? When's the OnlyFans dropping, Jon? Come on.
The only thing I can say, it's got, you know, eggplants and cucumbers and all kinds of stuff.
Lots of eggplant, lots of cucumber, lots, and nothing is blurred. No.
Yeah. And so I was just trying to and I'm not saying this to receive pity from my followers or my supporters or anything like that, but like, I haven't earned this little money since way before I was in college or something like that, because, you know, before I started earning money from sponsorships and from selling plant-based meal plans, before that I was, you know, working in a storage facility here in the village. I had my own video editing company services, so I was freelancing and editing for a lot of the top fitness YouTubers and professionals and that kind of stuff. So that's how I made my money before, right? And a little bit of coaching on the side. But now that, you know, the sponsorship, you know, all of the sponsor money is gone, all the, you know, meal plans are gone. The only thing I have now is just like, you know, one-on-one coaching, which is super time intensive. And I like it, but it's not the biggest passion in my life. So I could, you know, just do more of that if I wanted to, but like, you know, luckily, you know, we're not at that kind of desperate situation right now.
Luckily, you're a good looking guy. OnlyFans pays well.
Exactly.
I'm just kidding. If I ever see Jon on OnlyFans, I'll rip you, dude. Don't get up on that OnlyFans. I can't believe. I still am just amazed that somebody would put their wife on that. Oh, sorry. What was that?
No, I was gonna say, like, is that
100% legit or
Oh, it's
is
real. Yeah, no, it's real. We had a stream about it the other day. Like there's,
Yeah.
we looked at the page and everything. It's like $18. You
Yeah.
pay and you get pictures of naked pictures of the dude's wife.
Does it say how many people follow each person? You know that?
Unfortunately, it doesn't. It just says how many likes or something on the. I don't really know how it works. I'm not going to download the app either because I'm never going to use it. So we use it on desktop. But yeah. Well, it's crazy. It's like the social media world has just gone. That's like being an influencer. Like is actually being a whore now. Like we're just whores. Let's just be honest. Now the influencers we're all just whores now on freaking YouTube and the Instagram hoes out there. It's just I can't believe it. I'm dumbfounded by all this stuff. But I've got let me see. I got more questions for you about this whole getting canceled from the sponsor situation. Would you look back like on the kind of the vegan days? I know it wasn't that long ago, but something I've talked about in the last few years concerning like the vegan influencer space is it seems like for some of these people, there's no other niche where they would be able to do what they're doing, right? There are certain characters, right? Vegan fitness, for instance. To be a vegan fitness influencer, the bar, would you say that the bar is a little lower for vegan, like the entry point, the bar for vegan influencers is a little bit lower? Like the hoops, just a notch down?
Yeah, for sure. I think, well, I mean, like in terms of actual bodybuilding.
What you need to be, right? Like the image you portray, like the type of person you have to be successful in general fitness versus vegan fitness, very different.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like, yeah, for sure, 100%. And that goes, for not only fitness, but for like food recipes and that kind of stuff, for all kinds of things. So yeah, a lot of times I would say, like, I don't know a lot about, I'm not too sure about this because in the 5 years that I was vegan, I was like really, I was all over the social media. Like I was reaching out to small influencers and, trying to help them as much as I can, like grow their accounts and like give tips and try to get more people on the scene. But there haven't been more people popping up, and it's not a lack of people trying, but maybe who knows what the real reason is that there are not more people being successful in vegan fitness itself. But I
mean, there are a few people like you had a very, you still do, like, right, respectable physique. Like you have a respectable physique, especially for a natural. I'm sure if you got on gear, and we talked about this before. Have you ever taken steroids, John? People want to know. The people want to know. Steroids.
No, I wish I could, just as an experiment. I would love it.
I think Jon is like very, very gifted genetically, right? When you look at somebody like Jon Venus, very gifted genetically. Another dude that's very gifted, remember Jason Whitrock, right? He used to had a keto channel. He hasn't put out stuff in a while, but I actually talked to him. Shout out to Jason. Haven't talked to you in a while. And I talked to you the other day. That was nice, dude. But another guy like that's genetically freaky, right? Kind of like upper echelon of human genetics that you can achieve a very, very good, muscular, lean physique without steroids. Very few people can do that level. You're one of those, in my opinion. Assuming you're being honest, which I do, and I believe you. But it seems
and again, you can never tell if someone is telling the truth or if they're actually, natural or whatever. But from my experience, like I have seen some people, and usually Black people who are just like, they're way bigger than me, and I'm almost 100% sure that they're natural. So
there's some Black dudes that have some freaky genetics, and there's some.
I'm definitely not the bar like of like the max you can achieve naturally.
No. But what I'm saying is like your upper echelon, like you could if you were to really, and don't take this like I'm saying you don't work hard, but I feel like right now like your physique is not your top priority, obviously. Like you're not trying to be like the shreddedest, biggest dude right now. But there was a time when you were working really hard and it was respectable physique, like regardless of if you were vegan or not, that was a respectable, like natural physique. You got called a fake natty all the time, which if you are natural, it's a compliment, right? If you're not natural, then it's like, I don't know, it must feel weird. If be called a fake natty if you're like lying about it. Those dudes must feel slimy inside. So there are a few people like that in the vegan movement. And do you have any theories on why, right? Like there's like Brian Turner, your buddy, Simnet like looked pretty decent, and like there's some other guys that look pretty good, but we don't see the same level as we see in general fitness. Do you think that's something to do with the diet, or just the bottleneck of not that many people are vegan? What do you think
Yeah,
it is?
I think it's more. I doubt it that it's a diet because again, even if you believe a plant-based diet is suboptimal, you can still fill in the gaps for muscle gain with supplements and all kinds of mock meats and these things. So I don't think I don't think muscle gain wise you're not able to reach similar, if not the same levels of muscle mass. I think it's more of a case of, especially for bodybuilders, if you're trying to eat whole foods and you're eating that amount of whole foods to get to 4,000 or 5,000 calories a day or whatever you're trying to get to.
Yeah.
Like I've heard some explosive sounds coming from people who are trying to do that, like it's not, the best for your gut if you're eating 200 grams of fiber a day or something like that. Like it's really hard to get those levels of protein and calories without having some sort of digestive issues. And again, like you can avoid that by just not being a bodybuilder and not trying to eat all those calories, but like it's much harder to do it as a plant-based athlete, especially if you're avoiding processed foods, which a lot of people try to promote, myself included. But then I found myself depending on processed foods, like minimally processed, like pasta, tofu, and tempeh, but still processed, right? They're not like
I would argue that that's the only reason you lasted so long. You can't do a whole foods, unrefined, no processed food vegan diet and get sufficient protein to make significant gains over a long period of time without pushing yourself into the like 50, 60, 70 grams of fiber range, which for so many people is going to equal, your ass blasting out.
Yeah. I mean, like I've never seen an example of someone who's, who's been able to make massive gains without
daily dozen, right? Like Dr. Greger's daily dozen, go make gains. Good luck on lentils and chickpeas.
Yeah. And, like I know, like I have friends who eat a lot of mock meats and these things because like it's the most similar to animal products in their macro ratio and has a lot of protein, way more than you would ever find in any natural plant food. So, and they realize that they benefit a lot from that, especially when you're cutting down or on a big caloric deficit. I don't think they would be able to maintain the muscle size on a deficit without getting those processed foods in.
So what do you think about, so I think the bar is lower in the vegan world. I think that it seems to me like to be like a revered fitness influencer or call yourself a vegan bodybuilder or whatever, an expert nutritionist, which all these people, they call themselves nutritionists now. Right? Like some of these people that I see criticizing you, for instance, like I'll throw out one name, Hench Herbivore, just because he's such a fucking coward. And the dude talks shit constantly and refuses to come on for a debate or any sort of discourse. He just likes to lob stones from afar in his little glass house. So Hench Herbivore, the human hernia, that guy, it's like, I mean, if he were in general fitness, nobody would listen to this guy. I mean, the guy, like as far as the physique goes, the information, the delivery, there's no other niche where you would see Hench Herbivore pulling the amount of sway he has other than the vegan movement. And you don't even have to respond. This is, like, I know you're, I don't know, I'm not trying to put you on the spot and like get you to talk some shit here, but dude, I think the bar is so low in the vegan movement that like mediocre people get exalted in it. And I think he's a really good example of somebody with a physique that is barely average, looks just like a washed up bouncer, but he's, the fitness expert on YouTube.
Yeah. Like, and this is not me pretending that I know what the real scenario is, but I don't think people are following him for his physique. I think he found his niche, which is, shitting on people who are, talking about how animal products are beneficial or talking about anti-vegans. And I guess he built his following base on talking about Frank Tufano mostly. And vegans, and like not vegans, but humans love drama, right? So I think that's more of the real reason why he's been able to succeed on social media, way more so than his physique, I would say.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm sure if we were to, I'm not going to pull up his channel right now because I don't have a window pulled up, but the most popular videos are probably the like attacks on yourself and Tim Sheaf, It seems like that's kind of the clickbait thing. But I'm trying to think of other fitness influencers that are like, that are impressive in the vegan world, and it's unfortunate there aren't that many. I think Brian was pretty big as far as like a bodybuilder. Brian Turner. Nimai looks great. I mean, Nimai looks great. And yeah, so I don't know. It is what it is. I think the bar's a little low. It seems like it's kind of like easy money for a lot of these.
David Lay just joined the ranks, I think.
David Lay? Who's that?
Yeah, he's a super nice guy, but he's a
like
one
a
of
fitness
those, main, like, most popular, YouTubers who got famous by being like a teen fitness guy.
He's like a Gymshark guy, like Gymshark clothing all over him.
Gymshark athletes for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
But he just recently made a video a month ago saying that he's been on a vegan diet for a month and not planning on stopping.
Oh, that'll be interesting. I'm interested to see how that case goes. But is he like does he say he's natural, or is he in?
Yeah, he does. Like I think he is, because like I've met him in person, and he's not like the biggest guy. He's super tall.
Yeah.
So he has a really good physique for his height and his frame. And I think what's most impressive is his like strength. I think he's more of a power lifter than a bodybuilder, I think. But yeah, super cool guy. I think, everyone, when you come across veganism, it makes a really good case for so many things that I don't blame anyone for, being interested in it, right? Because it ticks so many boxes, or you think it ticks so many boxes that, you might as well give it a go. And so, like, I didn't expect someone that, prominent in the fitness industry to actually give it a go for real, because we did have Kai Green, who was just trying to make a TikTok.
Yeah, that was funny.
It was hilarious.
Did you see did you actually download the ebook? Did you see it?
Yeah, I didn't download it, but I got people sending me like inserts, and it was so funny. What is that?
Great. Oh, dude, that's the wrong one. Here, we'll check that out in a minute. But this is the David Lade guy. He looks like he could be naturally achieving that. I mean, it's nothing outside of the natural realm of possibility. There are people who do take steroids to look like that, but that doesn't mean that you must take steroids to look like that, right? The people who take steroids to look like me, and it's like I barely even lift right now, so it's not. Yeah, so vegan, we'll see how long he lasts. I wonder how, is he ideologically attached, or is he just experimenting with it to see?
He did talk about the ethics and the environment and all those talking points, right? So, and
slippery slope. I hope he doesn't waste time, or hey, if he does well, that's fine. More power to him. And he could be like like a Brian Turner or another one of these guys who can do it long term.
He has a pretty mainstream audience, so like I don't think he would all of a sudden turn into a vegan channel. I think it would be more of a on the down low kind of like, how some of these popular YouTubers are vegan, but they never talk about being vegan. That's probably more the approach that he would take.
Yeah, asymptomatic vegan. He'll be an asymptomatic vegan.
Yeah. But his diet is definitely suboptimal for bodybuilding.
That's what it's going to be interesting to see. 1 month he's in 1 month.
Yeah, he was just eating rice and lentils and green beans and a couple of protein shakes a day. So like he's, I was like that in the beginning as well. Like I didn't know how to optimize it. So
we'll see. 5 years of tweaking it. It seems like you've probably got more. It seems like you probably got more experience than almost anybody as far as tweaking a bodybuilding diet for a natural athlete. And maybe.
I mean, it's been my how I've made my living for the last 5 years. So there's a lot of people we've tried to help and coach. So it's definitely something that I feel very comfortable in terms of like how to structure your diet for optimal gains for sure on a plant-based diet. Yeah.
Well, we got another super chat here from Supernetchery, donates €3. Says, is there a difference between the fat of an egg and the fat from meat? And my answer is yeah. The fat from an egg and the fat from meat, very, very different. The fat in the meat is an organ. It's a living organ that's communicating with muscle tissues, with every single organ in our body, right? These water droplets are flowing through the collagen networks that also come through the fat. There's a lot of water in the fat as well. Fat produces hormones and communicates throughout the body. It is very, very different. So fat from beef is going to be different than fat from butter. Fat from beef is going to be different from fat from an egg. Not only the fatty acid composition, but the other things that are in there, some of which we're not even measuring. We haven't even named some of these compounds that are in there. Fat is an organ, and it is very intelligent, and it is it's not just a dead stored substance in the body. It has a really important function. So eggs come from petunias, and fat on the meat comes from grass and indigestible cellulose that's converted in the rumen into fat. So yeah, thanks for the super chat. Appreciate that. Appreciate the support from the audience. And I think we're gonna wrap this one up. We got one. Or wait, you asked what this one is. This is a funny clip. I'll just play this real quick. We'll see what you think. We could react to this, and this will be the outro. All right. So if you guys got any last super chats, if you guys want to support the stream, remember, super chats are the way to support here, but the best way is via the Streamlabs link. Streamlabs link's right there. Just threw it up in the chat. Oh, thanks. Okay, keeping that one up as well. So yeah, if you guys want to donate via Streamlabs, got any last questions, throw it in there. And but yeah, we'll maybe give a little outro for Jon, and then we'll watch this last clip, and we'll wrap it up. Jon Venus, where can people find you? Where can people find your work? And if you have any last things to say, go ahead and throw it out.
Yeah. So I think, the best place would be my OnlyFans. I'm just kidding. But like Instagram and YouTube are basically the only places that I post content right now. I would love to get back into podcasting at some point, but I think that YouTube and Instagram are the main ones that you can reach me. And if you want to send me a personal message, Instagram is definitely the way to connect with me one-on-one, because I check my messages pretty often, and just search my name, you'll find me.
All right, hear that, vegans? No, I'm just kidding. We've got, let me see if there's any last super chats over here. The chat's going crazy. What's up, Shell? Naomi415, thank you for that.
I'm a soy boy because I love soy.
I'm a soy boy because I love soy. Thank you so much for that $9.99 super chat. I appreciate that sticker. And I appreciate your appreciation. I appreciate everything you guys do for the streams here. If you guys want more of these streams, you got to support. So you guys can also become a member at primaledgehealth.com/membership. Down in the link in the description below, we do weekly coaching calls, help you to dial in your diet. And we have a community of really cool, like-minded people there to support you as well. So Jon Venus, OnlyFans, coming up 2021, depending on how crazy life gets. We might be seeing that. Hopefully not though, but yeah, let's check out this last clip. I'm gonna unplug the mic right there so we can give some commentary. I think this will bring back some good memories of this conversation you had with philosopher king Richard Burgess.
In order to be vegan, obviously that is not. Luckily, that's not the case.
Okay, Jon, listen. Okay,
hypothetical world
listen.
Animals.
Okay, well, Jon. Jon.
Which
like,
one do you want to go?
Jon.
It's a
Jon. Jon.
I'm talking about real life results.
Yeah. So Jon.
You're
Jon.
You're not a single drop.
No, Jon. You singled out. No, Jon. You singled out the situation. No, Jon. Would it have been better? No, Jon. Okay, cool, Jon. So Jon, like,
I mean,
Jon,
I'm not understanding your question. Like, obviously,
like Jon, look, Jon.
No, I understand, man. Like, I'm
look, Jon. Look, Jon. If you would just fucking come out and say, Jon. If you would just come out and say, Jon, Jon. I reused your title.
Let me finish, man.
Jon. I criticized you for lying. Look, Jon, and Jon. The reason, look, Jon. Okay, so Jon, again. Okay, Jon. Jon, have I hurt your feelings? Jon, have I hurt your feelings? So Jon. Okay, Jon.
And results.
No, Jon.
Attacking these people.
No, Jon.
Change the way you do.
Okay, well, Jon. Look, I'm not some sort of.
Are you saying that your
I'm not
videos will never push anyone away
my
from
videos,
eating
Jon.
Jon.
Look, Jon.
Jon. That's
because okay, John. So okay, John. No, John. This is a.
That's what you're saying.
John. No, that's not what I'm saying. John, that's not what I'm saying. Look, this is outside the scope of our conversation anyway. Look, John. This is John. Listen. We can debate this tomorrow.
Look,
John. Look, we can debate this tomorrow if you want. This is outside the scope of our conversation.
What? I love that one. So shout out to Phoenix Compilations. Phoenix Compilations made that one. That's a good one. That video is called Vegan Gains Interrupts Jon Venus for 2 minutes straight. We got Gung Fu sent another super chat. He's got a question. He says, does VG even make an effort to grow his own food? I think I missed that one earlier. Does he even make an effort to grow his own food? No, of course not. Most of these people that are LARPing as activists online don't produce anything except flatulence. So did I miss anything, guys? Am I missing any super chats? All right, we got OK in the chat, Shell, Aaron the Big Black Dude, Naomi. All right, guys. Jon Venus, it's been a pleasure, man. I always enjoy talking. Thanks for staying up late with us, and yeah, man. You guys can check out Jon's YouTube channel, check out his Instagram. What else is coming up down the line, John? Any plans for content coming up? What can people expect?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I have no idea. I have no idea what's coming up. It really depends. Like, usually we would have a little bit more of a plan in place, and I would be able to answer this straight away. But with this crazy climate that is going down, I have no idea. Like, all of a sudden you can hear me. Like, all of a sudden I'll quit YouTube and I'll open a new account with an anonymous kind of mask and talk about 5G. Who knows what's going to happen next? Like, everything's an option. We'll see. But yeah, I'd say I would always be checking in with people, and just I know that it's going to be the crazy feedback is going to be there either way. But I'm going to continue just sharing my journey. Like, if I go hunting. When I get my license, I'll definitely make a video about that, because it's going to be a slightly different experience, right? So that's definitely like in the plans, and probably some, taking the seriousness out a little bit and make some funny, entertaining videos. Like, who knows what? Like, I one video that I have planned that I'm looking forward to is like living like a hunter-gatherer for 24 hours. So that's one that I want to do soon. So I'm looking forward to that one.
All right, man. Jon Venus, lovely talking to you, man. We'll do it again soon. I'll let you get to sleep. I'm excited to see what comes out of your channel, man, and I appreciate you sharing with us, and always enjoy our conversations, bro. So thanks for coming on, dude.
For sure. Pleasure as always, man. Take care.
All right, everybody. We're out of here, guys. Take it easy, everyone. We'll have another stream, I believe, on today is Sunday. I think we're going to do Tuesday, probably Tuesday evening, maybe a little earlier in the day, so some of you Euros can catch it. But thanks for the support, guys. We really appreciate it. Guys, have a great day.